Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Rivers. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. This episode of the Grandpa Channel is brought to you by Hires Big H, home of wonderful hamburgers, French fries, onion rings, the magical and medicinal, so I say, root beer freeze. Head to Hires and treat yourself like the legend that you are. Now back to the channel. Good morning and welcome to the Grandpa Channel. Today we have a terrific guest. He's also my cousin, my first cousin, Brian Goley. And one of the best things that I can say about Brian, in fact, it's a high compliment, Brian, is that Brian reminds me of my dad. My dad was fun-loving, light touch, and just, oh man, he was just the best dad and grandpa. He also passed away coming up on 12 years ago. So a little bit of a shout out to him. But I want to have Brian, I'll just have Brian in just a second here give some information, some background information on him. And he's like one of my favorite people. It's not a bad compliment. It's a great compliment. Yeah. So kind of tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Well, first of all, Uncle Lou is one of my favorites. Your dad.
Yeah.
So this is very cool to be here. Well, it's very fun. And every time we were able to get together with your family, with Uncle Lou, he always made us feel special. And like I say, always a lot of fun. And actually, that's a lot of the influence on me. I thought I wouldn't have fun like Uncle Lou. So,
and then he had a non-fun-loving person. I consider myself funny, but not necessarily fun. So I'm really, in a lovely way, I'm envious of your ability to have fun.
Well, it's contagious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So if you're around and you want to go, I want to be like that. So it's very cool. Hobbies. Well, when we were kids. Our family kind of split up. His sister and my mom, they got divorced. My dad and my mom when I was around 7. And then things changed a lot because it seemed like that our family was kind of isolated from all the other relatives. And everyone into kind of compartment survival mode individually and stuff. So, and you had to negotiate that, navigate it. And, I never really felt picked on. I always had really good friends. That's one thing I really enjoyed growing up is having good friends and being a friend. And that was kind of my stability as opposed to a lot of family around.
Now, I want to stop you right here, and this is a little avenue we want to explore because I think it's a really important one. What advice would you have for, say, a 14-year-old grandson or somebody who feels like they're kind of out of the loop a little bit, wants to be in the loop, but are a little bit out of the front a little bit?
I think you have to realize friends are precious, and you got to appreciate friendships, and it has to be a give and take on all friends. And you can't just get everything you want. If you're in that thing, nobody wants to be your friend. And you want to do fun things, and you also want to support your friend, because that's what you need is you need support. Things that work too. So you find somebody you have that relationship with that you make each other better. It's special, and you try to hold on to it.
Great advice. So I waylaid you off the path of your kind of growing up. You spent some time here in Utah, obviously, but also in California, if I remember correct.
Yeah, just my senior year in high school in California.
How was that, be a senior, just 1 year in high school?
It was kind of crazy, but we were used to moving around. I went to either 4 or 5 elementary schools and a couple high schools with that one. And one thing I did get from my dad, he said, the best friends you'll ever have are the ones you haven't met yet.
Really?
And I kind of, every time I moved, that's one thing that kind of stuck with me. And when I was a kid, I'd go around knocking on doors to see if somebody's my age to play with. Serious when we moved. And I found some good friends doing that way. But
Cool.
my senior year was a little strange because I moved to California. I had enough credits not to go to school my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just played basketball until the season was over and I graduated. So I never went to prom or graduation, which I think I missed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of raised to be done.
Yeah.
With school, so I started working. And
Where did you work?
I just did construction, building houses. And I had a side company with construction. And then I was taking flight lessons with the money and stuff. But I was just kind of ready to be done because I was a late bloomer. High school, I didn't really, wasn't my best years. I enjoyed playing sports, so that was fun. And so I actually graduated in February when the season was over. I just took a couple classes, basketball season, and then just started on my way.
Wow. Tell us about what you did for a living.
I was an airline pilot.
For who?
For American.
For America?
Yeah.
And so you guys lived down in Texas for quite a while.
About 20 years.
Did you enjoy living?
Loved it.
Did you?
Loved it. The people were great. Great community. A lot of fun. Not like Utah where you have all these beautiful mountains and things to do, things I like to do. You make kind of use of the things that you had at hand. And we had a blast. Had a lot of good friends. And a lot of us raised our kids together. Mm-hmm. And then once the kids were all raised, everybody scattered. Mm-hmm. And we scattered back up here.
So tell me about your family.
Let's see, we probably have 2 kids, Michelle and Todd. We have 4 grandkids with them. They're about 15 minutes away, which is great. And just as a disclaimer before we start this thing, so my grandkids are the best in the world. Yes, and when you can see the same thing today, no, you're right. I mean, we can swap seats and you see the same thing. And the reason it's so fun being a grandpa and grandparents is because they have great parents. Yeah. They've already done
in the show.
Yeah, they've done the hard lifting, just like your kids and your grandkids, which we saw recently. Yeah, you could say exactly the thing I'm saying.
Yeah,
and with since they've done the hard lifting and really have a loving, nice home, and they've got the structure. I get to just enjoy playtime and loving them, and that's have our goal is to provide a safe place for them to show up, unconditional love, and we just try to enjoy them, and they're so fun. And every stage, everybody has a little bit of issues and stuff, but we don't dwell on that unless they want to, and we just accept them and have fun.
Do you think that was your job as a pilot, was it conducive or not conducive to family kind of interactions?
We end up. It could be bad if you're gone for a long time because you need that consistency, which I didn't have when I was a kid. I was didn't have a dad in the house, and my mom was trying to work with 5 kids. And so I didn't have a lot of parenting, and then my grandmother Ma kind of filled the gap there. And then I also had a scoutmaster, which was huge in my life, my formative years, to Mentor's Wing, and I actually worked for him in summer and taught me lots of things about being a dad or a man and stuff. But so I was afraid of that happening if I was gone too long. As it turns out, it worked out really good because when I was gone, usually it was only for like 2 nights a week. And then the rest of the time I was mostly home. And so I became a room dad at school, elementary. I go field trips with the kids, the class. It always give me the boys to hang out with on field trips. And I was able to coach their little league teams. So I had a lot of free time. So when I was there, I tried to make the most of it. And when I was gone, my one daughter would give me her homework, like physics or math. And she'd say, okay, got this homework. And I'd try to figure it out. And then we'd talk to each other when I was on a trip. You go through her homework and stuff like that.
Really?
So actually, we just tried to do the best we can with it. And as it turns out, I'm really glad it was the way it was because I got to spend some real quality long time with him.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Oh, man. And then Brian's mom, my aunt, Barbara, was like one of the best people you could ever imagine. She was so kind. And she had Ma's laugh. Kind of a nervous laugh, kind of.
Right.
And anyway, great people, but my dad and Brian's mom grew up in kind of a chaotic. Ma was trying to do the best she could as the breadwinner. It was during the Depression, and they would go from house to house, throughout the Southwest and up here in Utah. And somehow they made a go of it. But I know that Ma was a huge influence on my dad, a wonderful influence. But it wasn't straight out of a documentary film on Great American Family.
No. Yeah, and as we're similar, Mom was trying to support the five of us, and she had no skill set as a go on, so she worked as a hostess at a restaurant, and she was she hung with us. She's a saint. She stuck with us as best she could. Here you got a few teenagers, younger kids, all that going on. We had a lot of church support from the food. A lot of food came from that for quite a while, and then we kept switching houses for financial reasons, or switching to rentals and apartments and stuff. But I never felt picked on. I always had a blast because I was that age. I didn't know what was fully going on. I just knew it was an adventure. Yeah, my older sisters had a lot tougher time with it.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we don't really appreciate, which is in some ways a blessing, right? But sometimes you kind of think something's missing.
Yeah, and it's been fun seeing my daughter, third family. My son is recently married. They don't have kids yet, but it seems fun to kind of get a generational where it's kind of back to a solid base again. I guess that's a way to say it. And then I get to I'm reaping the rewards of their work, where I get the kids. We have a blast. We take them one-on-one on trips, just me and Lori, and separate them out, and we say, what do you want to do? And we take them on a couple-day trip. And so, geez, where did you know where we go? Kenzie, the oldest one, she loved roller coasters. And so we like look at roller coasters on YouTube. Yeah. And she wanted to go to Magic Mountain in California. So we went there for a couple days, rode roller coasters till we threw up, which is great. Swam the pool, and came home. And then our next one, McKay, he was into scuba diving. And so we took him on a trip and we ended up in Florida because the water's warm. To take an intro to scuba class. Had a blast. And then just a couple weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, we took Macy, the next one, up to Seattle, and saw, I didn't know who Morgan Wallen was. He's a country western singer. I some kind of idea. But we ended up in, I think it's Lumenville, where the Seahawks play with 80,000 people. And we're in there watching the concert, and that was involved. That was really fun. Yeah. And so we try to kind of do things they want to do and get a one-on-one with them, which is so neat. That I would change it for anything. It's awesome.
Are there anything that are there any things you find especially moving or wonderful about being a grandpa?
I think the neatest thing is we can. I mean, it's all organic. When things come up, we talk to them, we see where they're at, and relate to them and let them be kind of a sounding board, which I really find really fun. We get them some advice here or there, but we're not the disciplinarians or anything. We're just, like I say, it's just fun. My older granddaughter, we did a high school bike team together.
Oh yeah, talk about this. It was really interesting.
It was really fun for 5 years, when she was 8th grade through 12th, and I had just retired about a year and a half early because of COVID with a job, the way the airlines were and stuff. They started running out of places to go, like to China and stuff. And all of a sudden I found myself retired with a lot of time on my hands. And we'd ridden bikes before, and we started talking about it. We decided to join the high school team. And I was a coach and a rider. I've been riding out bikes, since the mid-'80s, I guess. So that's a sport I really love. And we started doing it together, and we had a ball. And we start in June and go through October. A lot of practices. We have races, and which adds stress and stuff. But the most fun thing was driving to and from practices one-on-one where we just see, hey, what's going on? How you doing? We got through the practice. We go get a shake or something. And then we got she was my biking buddy, and I was hers. And, we talked a lot about competition and races and stuff, where I said, it really doesn't matter. You can only control the things you can control. And we said the only things you can control every single time, no matter if it's a job or a race or life, is your attitude and your effort. And that's what we concentrated on, is, every team, your best effort, have a good attitude, winner, trophy, And I've tried to use that with for their grandkids. Says that's the only expectations is control your attitude and effort. And if somebody, you can't control what they do, if they're better than you, or if they're being obnoxious at school or something, that's on them. But you control what you can control.
That's fabulous advice, I think, especially for, grandkids for 12 on up, do what you can do, and just realize that not everything's under your control.
Right. And I think that takes a little pressure off of them, because there's a lot of peer pressure on kids. And so it's like they're responsible for you. Yeah. And then you pick like-minded friends. So you can, and that's where the friendships come in with friends, is, hey, they're on the same beat.
Did it ever get weird with you and Kenzie, when you were the coach and she was the granddaughter?
Then there's a lot of coaches. We had over 200 kids up there on the team. So I was responsible for about 10 to 12 at the time, my group. And then I had another rider there with me, and we had a blast. It was really fun. So it wasn't like I was trying to do things with it. So we work on skills, and a lot of it was then encouraging the kids. So it's all positive. We weren't yelling at kids or anything. It was all, way you go. And then we had intro because we're cheering for the other kid to come up the hill. And so it was just a neat environment to grow, and it was a safe environment for the kids. They had a place to go.
That's the thing that strikes me. So you're the grandfather of these wonderful grandchildren, but yet you're grandfathering as a verb, as a coach on the on the bicycle team, and you're mentoring, and maybe some more formally than others, and some kids might have wonderful home situations. But I don't know about you, but anytime anyone's kind to my kids and helps them in any way, shape, or form, I'm so, I'm so grateful. It's the kind of the thing of it takes a village to raise a child. I'm just grateful for people.
And it was almost like, in some ways, I was a little bit of a pseudo grandfather. And there's only like a couple of us are grandfathers. Most of them are dads or brothers or something. I was kind of to the point of aging out in mountain biking, but I wanted to hang in there. So a lot of the kids, we started with 8th grade, her friends and her peers. We always kept a lot of the same group for 5 years. So I got to know them.
Yeah.
Real good. And then some of the ones to go to maybe a faster group or a different group for different reasons, and we get some new ones in. But the core group, we got really close. And you enjoy it. Yeah. And a lot of times on mountain biking, we'd be riding, take a break, and we weren't even talking about mountain biking. It's like, hey, how's school going? What's coming up? And we kind of check in, and then we talk about maybe the next skill or the next part of the trail. But
wow.
So it was fun for me. It was him, and yeah.
He spent a lot of time at it.
Oh yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it was a long time. What was the season? What started in June. We practiced Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Saturdays. And then in October, we started having races every other week until state, which is about third week in October. Last couple years is in Cedar City, here before St. George. But we traveled all over the place.
That was fun, too.
It was fun.
Yeah. So we as grandpas maybe sell ourselves short a little bit about what our influence could be, with, and I think this is a great example, Brian, of, kind of grandfather where you're planted, you were planted with Kenzie, of course, but if, you had all these other kind of people. I know that I had a bunch of coaches that I just adore. I'm also of the opinion that we're led to situations where we're supposed to use our talents, like I think have. I just think that's so wonderful.
Well, like I say, it was kind of natural and organic. That you see a need for the kids, and you can help them a little bit, or help them or cheer them on, and all of a sudden you see them brighten up, and that makes you want to do more. This particular sport, because of what it is, there'll be rights of bench. Everybody participate. Everybody's in every race, and so you get to go from group to group and cheer them on as they race. The cowbells, and then I really enjoyed it at the very end after they done their 2 loops. Usually that's about 12 miles and upper 1,000th climb or something. I catch them at the end, and they call it the hug and cry zone. And the coaches did catch them inside when they came off the bike to make sure they're okay. Because they put it all on. They grabbed the bike. And I got the bike, just relax. Some of them would collapse. Some of it would be loud, would be crying. There's a whole bunch of emotion, but I love to see them at the end, just to see that effort they put in, how proud they are of themselves, and just tell them, hey, you did good. It's awesome.
I mean, that's what sports are supposed to do. Instead of just chasing the D1 scholarship, right? Basketball or football. And I think you lose sight of that sometimes.
Oh yeah, the human experience, so hopefully they go on and just use that as a springboard, not for biking, but for life. Saying I can do hard things. I can be proud of myself for what I've done, and use that for confidence. Hopefully.
What are some of the hard things in life you've done that have kind of made you who you are? Do you think of anything in particular?
I think I have a short memory. So when something comes up that's, we went through a lot of stuff as, just as kids, just being just a situation. And so you just kind of went on your own, but everything seemed not really hard, but just different. Lori and I early on, it's kind of personal, but we've lost 3 boys, young. And so it set the bar kind of high on what really matters. And so all the little other stuff is just stuff. And some of that other stuff that is a big deal to some people isn't a big deal to me, because the bar is already been set. So I got to be careful to be empathetic to the people that other stuff is really important to them, that they're struggling with. Well, it's easy to say, well, yeah, but we had this bad. And so I try to really check myself and realize for them it's a big deal. And for us, a lot of stuff, we just can't be more, because it doesn't matter compared to that.
I think you hit the nail on the head with hard things, creating the ability to be empathetic.
Yeah.
And I guess as a grandpa and as a dad, we don't want to shield every bad thing.
Right.
I mean, there's certainly some things we would want to try to shield, and sometimes they happen anyway. But I don't know about you, but I really want to have grandchildren and children who have empathy, for other people. I think that empathy, to a large degree, is born from hard experiences, and death being really, hard.
And for the kids and grandkids, they have to navigate a lot of that stuff, and we're just here saying, hey, you're not alone navigating. We're here for you. Let's talk about it, but we can't do it for you. And I think they appreciate that sense of community, of family, and it gives them the courage to navigate some of the stuff. And there's this stuff because of you on your own. That's just the way life is.
How do you find? I know that faith is a large part of your life. It's a large part of my life, but how do you share? We found some good ways to share your faith with your grandkids. I find too, Brian, sometimes that when I, and thus saith Steve, my kids are just like click, and it's just like a stone wall. And I mean, I'm looking for some advice.
I'm looking for some advice too.
Yeah.
Todd have got like a routine for them with like family prayer stuff in the mornings, this or whatever kind of stuff. And so a lot of times when they're out of town, we'll stay overnight with the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm going, how am I going to fit into this? Well, we wake up in the morning and they're already in a routine. They're going, hey, they got this going on. We're going to do this. And they're saying their prayer, and they're, reading. And we join in, and they're actually teaching us.
Yeah.
But we,
Isn't that crazy?
that I think it's good for them to realize we're participating, that
You bought into it.
we bought into it, and so I'm getting taught by them, and that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah. I think we all need to be open for experiences with our grandchildren.
Yeah.
So a funny story about one of my grandchildren. I was sitting on the bench. I was reading the newspaper. This puts you back a few years. And I love reading the newspapers, and the obituary is my favorite part. That's pretty sad, preoccupied at death. And anyway, I know when I my theory is that a good obituary is one that makes you wish you had known that person. And sometimes you just read something that's just heart-wrenching. But so I'm reading the obituaries, and I think then 7-year-old or 8-year-old comes up, sidles up to me on the couch, and he said, "Hey, Rivers," he says, "what you reading?" So I said, "I'm reading obituaries." And he says, "Well, what's an obituary?" And so I explained to him that, these are people who've recently passed away. It's a little summary of their life. And he kind of had this quizzical look on his face. And then he looked up at me, and he says, "I'll bet you're glad that you aren't in there." Those are memories that I never want to forget. And, and then we just kind of explained, we talked a little bit about, he'd say, "Oh, I'm so afraid of death," and anything like that. But I just think that, that we have these moments that are pretty cool.
I know we go camping a lot together as families, and have a tradition of certain times of years we go to certain places camping and stuff, and we run the campfire sometimes. One thing we've talked about before is a little bit of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of done this as a scoutmaster a couple of times too. We did that. That's a scout. Yeah, that's just simple. Oh my gosh, that's why I have no hair. And but I say, like, today's August 21st, 2025. It only happens once in our lives.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how connected you are, how much money you have. You can't get today back. So make the most of it. And I don't do it to put pressure on them, like cure cancer or solve the world hunger or something.
Yeah.
It's just like be intentional about today. And I kind of start off just with, if you knew something, one thing good for yourself, one thing good for somebody else, you've already had a fantastic day and you've made the most of it.
Yeah.
But maybe there's some days you need to just chill and relax. And if you're doing that on purpose, it's great. I don't want to put pressure, all that kind of thing, but just think about what you could do today to make it better. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. But I just wanted to think that every day's precious.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of really big into being in the moment and enjoy it, because a lot of people they have the moment right there and they're not enjoying it because they're thinking about something over here. It's like, hey, when that's over with, you have time to think about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a ton of sense. And if someone were to ask me in one word, how would I describe you? One of the words that I would use to describe you is optimistic. You are a really, really optimistic person.
Well, thanks. Maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know. But I think, I don't know, it kind of goes along with control you can. Yeah. And there was a lot of time in my life where I wasn't controlling the situation just because of the way the situation was. So I kind of moved over to, well, what can I do? And I don't know if it's optimism or just like, I can't solve the political climate. I can't do anything about things people talk about, but I can control what I'm doing with my cousin today. Yeah. Like today was a good day for me.
But today, I'll bet you weren't in the present because I think you were wishing that it was over. I just want to point out.
That's true. But, in that same thing, though, what's cool is I chose to be here with my cousin.
You did.
Which I admire a lot. And so I thought that's good for me and hopefully good for him. So today's already a good day, And
I come to
you have.
Yeah.
And so it's, I guess I kind of take things because they caught me a little bit.
So here's maybe a final question for you, Brian. We have about like 37 followers. So it's a vast.
Oh, you guys
are there, And so I just think that you might have to do some things to avoid the paparazzi.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you have based on your experiences for Todd, your brother-in-law, for any of our son-in-law, right? any other people who are either gonna be grandparents or maybe new grandparents? What would you say?
Well, then, I actually think it comes natural, and I think you can get clinical about it and have a checklist. And I always been big on checklist wonderful, but it's not a checklist; it's an organic thing. You have to go with the flow, because every kid is different, all the needs are different, and every time you can help them a little bit, it affects you and them at the same time. Because I learned so much from them, and also I look back and go, that was me. Mm-hmm. I remember going through this. I remember elementary school and middle school and not being a group or a clique or being in the right group or this or that. And so I've kind of been there a little bit. And so I don't want to make a problem that there isn't one. But if they have some concerns or issues, I just want them to know that they have a place to come talk. It's safe, total acceptance. And one thing I try to tell them all the time is I love them and I'm proud of them. And I really am. Mm-hmm. It isn't fake. No. Yeah. And I can see through that. Mm-hmm. And that's something I tell them all the time. And it truly is the way I feel. Mm-hmm. And I think just things happen from there, that connection. I don't really think there's I don't know if there's a format to go by. Mm-hmm. I think just be ready for everything. And all of a sudden things play out and you're always a part of it. Mm-hmm. Which is very cool. That's kind of being a family.
It's kind of like, the old, plan to be spontaneous.
Yeah, exactly.
No. And I think that what you're saying and what I agree with, by the way, is that like you just got to be kind of ready to go with the flow.
Yeah.
In a good way. But yet, you just have to be open. And I really think that inspiration plays a huge role. You're being a dad and being a grandpa, and hopefully, I'm listening and following, and I have found that when I've done that, great things have happened. And Brian is a fantastic example of a grandfather who is a fountain of peace, of optimism, which I think if our grandkids have more optimism, is there anything bad about that?
No.
And just of unconditional love and acceptance, and being able to come and say, hey, I got something on my mind, and tell me, let's talk about it. And I've learned a ton just by listening to Brian. So you've knocked it out of the park.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm still hitting singles because they had sometimes it's a bunt single.
Yeah, that are a crisp single through the infield. Anyway, that's our interview for today with my cousin and wonderful grandfather, Father Brian Golving. And I think I'm going to go take a nap.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, man.
That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here.
It's pretty good, I think.